Welcome back to another devlog for PixelTribe, the game where you build and upgrade your own clan of Vikings. And my god, there's a lot of exciting things that have happened since the last devlog. So last devlog I finally made a Discord channel for all you amazing people and started inviting people to the closed beta. And seriously, I thought my game was relatively bug-free and it wasn't. Only after a couple of days you guys had given me a list of over 100 bugs and change requests. And I'm really glad you guys found these things now and not right before the actual launch of the game. So these last weeks we've done a bunch of changes, bug fixes and added some new things to the game. So let's start by talking about some of the changes we made. And let's talk about food. This was one of the first and biggest complaints people had. So in my game you can create food to heal your Vikings after a raid. But the food currently healed way too little while taking way too long to make. So people had to wait a lot before the food was done so they could heal their Vikings back up to full health and get back to raiding. So the first thing I did was simply to double everything and also greatly reduce the time it took to create some foods. And after that I actually changed how the entire food system actually worked. So previously the idea was that a Viking was only hungry for 6 foods at a time. This meant that the healing panel only showed 6 random foods you could use to heal them, and that also changed randomly once a day. And I quickly learned that this was kind of counterintuitive, and it also sucked not to be able to use some of the foods you've spent a long time creating. So I basically changed it so that now you can heal the Vikings with all the foods. But I added a craving system as well. So every day a Viking will crave 3 randomly selected foods that now will heal double the normal amount. So now it's up to you if you want to create and heal them with the most efficient foods or simply heal them with something else. So next up, my crafting also had some really stupid problems, because when you level up in the game you unlock new armor pieces and weapons that you now can craft. But the problem was that you still had to wait one more level before some of the ingredients for those armor pieces and weapons actually unlocked. Because stupid me thought that this would make it really exciting to get to the next level to finally create the gear you wanted. But no, this simply sucks. So now I changed everything so when you unlock something new to craft, all the ingredients should be unlocked as well. Sorry about that. Next up, it turned out that some parts of the ability system was a bit confusing as well. So basically when your Viking levels up, you get some skill points that you can use to specialize within one of these classes. That will in turn unlock new abilities that you can purchase right here. But the problem was that the connection between spending your skill points and having new abilities unlock was a bit unclear. So I was thinking long and hard how to make a tutorial or something that is short and good enough to show how it works. But I actually only ended up adding a small red notification right here instead, because I believe that this will take care of the most important part, which is showing people that something just happened in this tab after you spend your skill points. And hopefully that is enough to have people actually click on the other tabs and see the new abilities. Also, sometimes when you level up, you unlock more of a specific building. For example, in level 6 you get 1 additional field to plant crops. But many didn't really notice this at all, so I added the same type of notification right here. So once you unlock a new building or more of an existing one, you get one of these notifications that pop up to show you that something has happened. But now we come to one of my largest problems, the timers. Basically how long it takes to craft or grow things and how long it takes to construct specific buildings. And god damn, this is a tricky thing. So I actually got a lot of mixed feedback here. Some people found the timers totally fair and reasonable since it's a mobile game where you sometimes are supposed to put down the game and come back later. But most people found the timers way too tedious and too long. And the reason that this is so difficult is because on one hand I would love to decrease all the timers and make them as low as possible. But the problem is that people can then speed through all the content before I have the time to make more content. So the timers are a constant battle between keeping them as low as possible to make the players happy and the game rewarding, but also keeping them high enough to buy myself some time to create more content for you guys. And I might be wrong, but I do think that running out of content is worse than having long timers to a certain degree. And it's kind of ironic because I remember when I first started making this game that I was kind of annoyed with Clash of Clans and Heyday, how some of the things took way too freaking long and how I would never do that, only to fall into the same problem myself. But after your feedback I have reduced a lot of timers, and if there are still things you think take way too long, let me know right away. And hey, that's probably what a beta is for. If you keep telling me the timers need to go down, I will of course cut them. But these were only some of the changes I've made, and trust me when I say there was a lot of bugs that needed fixing too. An embarrassing amount of bugs actually. One of the biggest ones was when you tried to craft something and exited the game and entered again, the freaking craft timer would completely reset. I have absolutely no idea how I actually missed this before the beta launch, but it should be fixed now. And I also got some feedback that the raid rewards were way too small. Like, I only gave a player 1 potato for completing a rather challenging raid. So I changed it and published a new version of the game for the beta testers, only to learn that the raid now gave over 800 potato as a reward. So I had made a completely stupid mistake in some of my calculations, making it give exponentially better rewards for every raid you did. There was also a lot of other bugs, but let's move on to something a bit more interesting. Because the last weeks haven't just been filled with bugs and problems, I've also added some new things. So I did a poll in the Discord channel on what you guys wanted next, and adding more animals was the big winner. Well, at that time. Now the dungeon feature is actually leading. But anyways, now I've made 3 completely new animals for the game. So first I drew and added the cow to the game. And when you craft some cow food from oats and feed them, they will produce milk. And milk is mainly used as an ingredient in different foods and so on. Next up, I needed a way to produce raw leather, because this is the resource needed to create many of the armor pieces for the archers. And after a lot of thinking of different ways to get leather, I ended up simply creating an ox, that once you feed them, they will produce raw leather. I can't say this completely makes sense that they just drop raw leather and keep walking around like nothing happened, and this is probably borderline animal abuse, but let's not think about that. So now that the archers have a way to create their leather armor, the mages also need a way to create their cloth armor. So now that we needed wool, I drew and added a sheep to the game. And once you feed them, they will produce wool for you to create your cloth armor. So now that we've added these 3 animals that create their own raw resources, we need somewhere to start using these resources. So first is the milk we got, and this time I actually borrowed an idea from Heyday and created a dairy barn, where you can convert milk and eggs into these new resources, the mayonnaise, cheese and butter. And with these new resources we also needed to add some foods with these ingredients. So then I drew and added potato bread, baked potato, a waffle and an oatmeal muffin, which all use the ingredients we just made. And as I mentioned, we wanted raw leather to create armor for the archers, but then we also need a leather working tile where we can actually craft it. So once we have that in place, I also need to draw some new leather armor. So there we go. So now we have a new leather working station where you can craft new gear with the agility stats, which increases your range damage, perfect for the archers. Lastly, I had to do the exact same for the mage armor and add a tailoring station. And at this point it's kind of difficult to come up with new building looks every single time. I think we got over 15 different buildings now, and it's getting harder and harder to keep them unique. But anyways, now we also needed some mage armor, so I drew some hats and robes for our mages, which now can be made in our new tailoring station. Now these armor pieces have less defensive stats than leather and wood armor, but has the intelligence stats, which greatly increases your Vikings magic damage. And you also unlock more powerful versions of these armor pieces as you level up. And seriously, these last few weeks have been super fun. I absolutely love having you people in the Discord channel and getting direct feedback on what I should implement or change next. It's absolutely amazing and I can't thank you guys enough. And some of you even created some freaking amazing fan art of the game, and if that's not awesome, I don't know what is. And if you haven't joined the Discord channel for a chance to become a beta tester or simply follow along, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.